creativity is never outdated. For sure, not in the public relations industry. Welcome to another interesting and informative episode of the Ignited Minds podcast, produced by the Eastern Media in partnership with Two Rows.
And with us, we have Mr. Thomas O Rourke, who is an experienced PR professional, currently working as the digital PR specialist in Search Intelligence Limited. Welcome, Thomas.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Okay, are you all right?
I'm all good, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Creativity is an evergreen topic in the PR industry.
Yes.
As time passes, creativity is subject to many changes. In this digital era, can you tell me how important is creativity in PR?
Of course, yeah. I think creativity is one of the most important aspects when it comes to PR, especially when it comes to thinking of campaigns for clients, what's going to work, both digitally and in more traditional PR.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of the hardest things to get into
Mm-hmm.
if you're new to PR, trying to think of creative, original ideas
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. But yeah, definitely 100% one of the skills we look for when we're hiring people into new roles is how creative they are, how they can think outside the box.
Okay. So you're telling that it's an essential skill to be in the PR industry.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then, do you think creativity in PR allows brands and businesses to engage with their audiences in new ways, which was never thought possible before?
Yes, I think that could be true. I think if you're coming up with new campaigns, you might be reaching different audiences that potentially you've never reached before.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different industries out there, obviously depending on what your brand is and their messaging. But I think having creative campaigns allows you to reach different people. Not even just in the UK, it can be all over the world. Different ages, different demographics. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, so do you think creativity has an edge over the big budget competitors in the PR field?
I think that's a difficult one. I think I'd say yes and no. I think the issue is, well, not the issue, but the difficulty, I'd say, is yes, finding talent and people with that creative edge. I think that's always going to benefit a brand more than any budget. If you can think of that one idea that is just amazing, I think that's probably more valuable than having a big budget. But then I guess having a big budget does also allow you to be more creative, because sometimes you might have an incredible idea but you might not have the budget to necessarily do that. So yeah, I think they go hand in hand.
Okay, so as you said, you work in Search Intelligence Limited. So how do you gather ideas in your surrounding? Like how do you cultivate new ideas or creative ideas?
Yeah.
In your group, do you brainstorm sitting together, or how does it work?
I think, there's lots of different ways we can do it. Obviously, bouncing ideas off each other, like you said, in brainstorms is always beneficial, because, some people have ideas that you might not necessarily think of.
Yes.
We've all got our different skill sets, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then I guess you can pull inspiration from, a lot of different things, really. Obviously, being aware to what's going on social media is probably the biggest one. Keeping up with trends, seeing what people are talking about, seeing what's trending, looking through hashtags and stuff like that.
Right.
But also,
That.
just keeping up to date with the news and, seeing what people are talking about, seeing what different age demographics want to talk about. I think that's always useful. We live in a world of social media as well, so trying to stay up to date with everything on, TikTok and Instagram as well.
Right, yeah, because I think during the lockdown period, the importance of social media has taken an upper hand more than any other, as I would say, the practical campaigns that we do or the physical campaigns.
Yeah.
The digital campaigns have gained a more important role.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree. Yeah. I think you've nailed it. Yeah. I think especially I used to work in more traditional PR, and now I'm working in more digital, and I just think
okay.
I think that's the way the industry might be going, and I definitely think the more digital campaigns tend to do a bit better. So I mean that's just my opinion, but
okay. So do you think that traditional PR can still exist if in this digital age? With more creative ideas that needs to be put in the digital space more than the traditional way.
I think it's a bit of both. I wouldn't say traditional PR is completely dead, but I definitely think traditional PR does need to implement more digital PR tactics.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. And what do you think about multimedia content, which is the current creative, uniqueness? So, is it possible to bring in new creativity in the multimedia content?
The multimedia what? Sorry.
Like the multimedia content that you produce in the digital space, be it a post or a video, audio to attract the audience.
Okay.
Yeah. So, is it like do you think there are more ways that we can attract audience to the digital to the multimedia content that's being produced? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think everyone is constantly listening to what's happening around them, whether that be reading a newspaper, listening to a radio, or looking at something online, talking with friends, colleagues. So I think being in tune with all of them aspects is important, really.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And were you working with the search intelligence during the COVID era? I mean, the COVID period?
I wasn't at Search Intelligence. I was with another agency called JBH, but doing the same thing.
Okay. Could you tell me how the COVID affected the ability to be creative?
Yeah, I think it's COVID has basically just changed how we interact with people, how the world interacts, and I mean lots of things. How we travel, our health. There's lots of factors that COVID impacted. So I think it was just having to come up with creative ideas that was showcasing the changing world around us, if that makes sense. And I think that's definitely, still something we have to keep in mind, even now and moving forward. COVID, is going to change the PR world. But I guess that's what PR is. It's always changing.
Yeah, always changing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously COVID has impacted that, but in 1-2 years, I'm sure there'll be something else. I mean, hopefully not another disease, but you know what I mean. So I think to work in this industry, you have to be adaptable to the world changing around you.
Right, exactly. Okay, so okay, and can you tell me, is there a difference between creative PR and creativity in PR? I was just amazed by the terms that's used.
The difference in creativity in PR and creative PR, did you say?
Yeah, creative PR and creativity in PR. Is it the same, or is there a difference?
I think creativity in PR, relies on a bit more. A few different things, a few different aspects. It could be as simple as how your brain works, how you collect data. It could be how good you are at writing, how good you are, at speaking to people. I think there's lots of different things that can benefit you creatively in PR, where I think, creative PR is more like the end product, maybe, how all that comes together, and, how you can create an amazing campaign, maybe with a team of people to, have a really good idea for a client.
Exactly. Okay. So a teamwork is really important behind a creative work.
Yes, I'd say so. I think obviously everyone's got their skills and what they're good at, but I think having a few minds on one thing is always beneficial, because you can bounce ideas off each other. You can see what works, what doesn't work. But then also, some people might see something that might not work with the campaign, which can always help, in the long run.
Okay, so if an idea comes on, then you check the possibility, like if it's going to be successful or not successful, and then put into practice. Is it that the process of of implementing an idea?
Yeah, I think seeing something, seeing if it's going to work, and then actually implementing it is two different things. And I think that the longer you're in the industry, you'll tend to know like what's going to work, what's not. But yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing a lot of information.
No worries.
Yeah, so thank you for being here and taking part in this busy schedule of yours.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
From the discussion, we can understand that creativity is a big concept, but it's something that captures attention and communicates a message in a different way. Being in PR, it's important to be able to portray stories, communicate ideas, and solve problems in a different approach according to what the situation demands. Therefore, creativity is and will always be an integral and inevitable part of PR. Thank you all for listening to the Ignited Minds podcast. Meet you soon. Bye bye.